Okay, welcome to part two. And for part two, let's talk about America. I have a big problem with America. First off, um, America is not the greatest country in the world, and by the layperson standards, I guess you would consider England to be the greatest country in the world by far. But America has the potential to be a great place and a great leader. But the problem with America is that we're quickly dismantling the foundations which America was built. For example, the Constitution, which is our most precious and important document, it's the roots of America, is nothing more than just an old piece of paper to the society of today. Everyone in today's society, they want to advance financially, technologically, and egotistically. And if the Constitution stands in their way, they will override it. We have become so engulfed in technology and this man-made world that we live in that we forget that there's more to life than lumber, drywall, appliances, finance, and so forth. I feel it's important to be in touch with what was given to us as opposed to what we create for ourselves. Today we have epidemics of cancer, but why? Well, let's look at the people getting cancer. They're not all smokers. In fact, the whole smoking causes cancer is very overrated. Most people who get cancer get it from living and working and, just from their day-to-day lives. The auto body technician, the steel worker, the construction worker, they are the faces of cancer. You see, when we're given this planet, and we were given all of its elements, we were given everything we needed to live happily and healthily. However, mankind has been separating chemicals, recreating raw elements, and there are chemicals and elements that we were never meant to have had that are around us every day. Our bodies were not designed to handle these elements. Neither was our planet. In fact, that's partly why we have environmental issues. America needs to focus less on technology and more on understanding. We've been carelessly wielding technology without any regard to our future, but yet, with the excuse that it is in regard to our future and our children's future. Let's look at let's look at global warming, for example. We've known about this since the 80s, but we've been allowing our government, which is not controlled by our president. In fact, our president is nothing more than a spokesman, but by our Congress. And let's look at our Congress. There's not a single member of Congress that's still going to be alive 20 years from now. And right now they're living it up. They've all they care about is their money, is their finances. Most of them don't even have children, so to worry about their children's future. And then the ones that do have children have the ability to protect their children, whereas the rest of America is basically on their own. The government hides vital information from us. And they will never admit to any mistakes that they have made. They won't let us see the damage that we're doing to America. They hide vital information from us in order to get what they want out of us. So whether it be lowering gas prices to try to make people think, oh, the economy must be doing better, or paying off experts to say that global warming is a myth, if you want to know what's going on in America, then don't listen to what our government has to say, because they're not going to tell you about American troops in Iraq running over civilians with Humvees for their own sick entertainment, nor will they tell you about the numerous foreign nuclear threats that we receive on a weekly basis. They're not going to tell you what your tax money is spent on, and they're certainly not going to tell you that unless you work for the government, you don't even technically have to pay taxes, which 99% of Americans think they're required to pay taxes, as well as employers, when in fact it's actually illegal for the government to tax any exchange of goods or service in the private sector. You know, the government controls us by forcing us to believe in something that certainly is not what it seems. I say don't believe in the government, don't believe in society, believe in yourself, believe in God, because this country is about to crash and crash hard. You know, the government was never supposed to have control over the private sector, but they control our food, our medicine, our gas, now our financial institutions. So unless you support a communist dictatorship, then steer clear of the government, because they'll chew you up and spit you out, and then they'll point the finger at the terrorists. Now, I don't support terrorism. I think it's a stupid, primeval way of trying to get people to listen to you and to your opinions, but it's no surprise that a private extremist group could have gone as far as the Al-Qaeda has, especially since they know what they want. They know what they're fighting for, where the U.S. military is just kind of doing what they're told and what they think they're supposed to do. You know, I can't help but wonder where are all of America's private militia groups, to help counterattack the terrorists. You know, I guess when you're a zombie U.S. citizen, you just expect the good old U.S. of A. to take care of you. But what about the victims of Katrina? You know, they're all still homeless. I was watching an episode of Top Gear, which is a BBC show, and it's filmed in the UK, and it's a favorite show of mine. But in this one particular episode, they came to America to film their documentary. They came to New Orleans, and they were shocked at the sight of New Orleans. And in fact, the host of Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson, had mentioned that, and I quote, "I heard about how bad Katrina was hit, but after 2 years, I just assumed the richest country in the world would have fixed it all up by now. I couldn't be more wrong." End quote. Why is New Orleans still in shambles? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the government refuses to spend money on rebuilding an area that consists of lower class citizens. They know that the economy there is so small that it would be nothing more than a great loss of money to help the citizens of Katrina and of New Orleans, or the victims of Katrina. The only people helping the victims of Katrina, in fact, are members of the private sector. You know, the government is like a cancer spread all over America. They have their hand in everything. So be wary, and stay tuned for part 3.